Once you have all of your images traced, your file will look something like this. It will have a couple of plans and hopefully a couple of sections. So the key here is I don't really want to work destructively. So either save your file as something different for this next step, or you can just go ahead and take all of these and just do a copy and just copy them out so that you make sure you actually retain a version of these that you're not working with. So the first thing I'm going to do on the ones that I'm working with is I'm going to take the first floor plan and I'm just going to do a group. So what this will do is when I click it, it'll allow me to select all of those curves at once. Then I can grab these, do another group, grab these, another group, and these, another group. And we're going to do the same thing for the elevation and for the section. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to pull these up and we're going to start working in multiple views here. So there's a couple of different ways to do this. So these are not the ones. So the ones you're not using, you can just type hide and hide those for now. So there's a couple of different ways to do this. If you have the Gumball enabled down here, you can click on Gumball and you can just go ahead and rotate this up, and then you can rotate this over. So this is going to serve as the elevation facing this direction. And then what we can do is the same thing here. We can just rotate this guy up. And what I know about this based on how I drew it and the drawings that I was working with is that I have a common point, so I can type move and then move that right to there. So I have a common plane that they're all working from, so this is going to be my ground plane. So the next thing that I can do is I can go ahead and start placing my plans where they need to go. So I can go ahead and type move here, and I can move it from a common point here. So this is the height that this plan is actually going to live on. So we can go ahead and work on that. So the plan cut was taken at this level, so I know that vertically this has to be this high. So if it exists down here on the ground plane, what we can do is we can type move, and then there's a command here that asks if we want vertical, and we can click vertical equals yes. And what that'll do is when we click down here, that will only allow this thing to move vertical. So if I then click over here, it will automatically align with that line. Now we can do the same thing. We can do a move here, and we can move that to my second floor. We can do a move here and move that to my third floor, and we can do a move here and move that to my roof plan. So when I go into my top view now, what I see is that this wall is aligning in all of them. So when I did that, I selected all of those plans, and then the form is changing below that. So I have basically 3 different floors with 3 different plans. Now the key here is that you can see from this view that I'm actually not aligned with my section cut. So what I want to do here is I need to figure out how to get this section cut over to where it needs to go. So we're going to pick a reference point. So you can see I have this wall here, and then I have this wall coming down. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab a polyline here, and I'm just going to draw it down to the bottom there using the perpendicular snap. And then what I can do is I can do a move here, and I can move this over using the perpendicular snap, and then I'll see that that ends up in the right spot where that wall is. Now again, I need to move this over so that it actually hits where the section cut is taken. So this is my section cut line. So if I draw another construction line, I'm going to go ahead and do a move here, and I'm going to move that from there all the way back. So I can go ahead and delete all of the construction lines that I just made. And you can see here that we have the basic start to a wireframe. So I have my wall aligning here where my section cut is taken. I have my wall aligning down here where my section cut is taken, and down here. And from here, I can start doing all of my 3-dimensional commands. So I like to start simple here. So let's just start with something that's easy. So I have this big wall here. I can just draw a rectangle over that. And then I can just go ahead and extrude that curve all the way down to the ground. So we have that. And obviously there will be different openings and things that we'll have to cut in that later, but I like to start with just the basic massing of this thing. So here again, what you could do is you could start by just simply extruding all of these volumes using the really simple extrude command. At certain times, what you might have to do is if you might have to copy this out and do a little bit of work to it. So if we copy that out and we do an ungroup, if we say I just want the really basic outer line of this, so I can just do a simple form, we'll go ahead and grab this, and then we can just add the lines that are in between this. And then I can grab that, we'll grab all of the lines in between, we'll do a join. Then we can move this back to where it originally was using a common reference point. Now you can see that my floor starts down here, so what I'm going to do is again a move vertical, so I can click here, move down to my floor level, and then if I do another simple extrude, I can extrude this all the way up to there, and I have my basic volume there. So you can see that this can start to come together pretty quickly. There's obviously going to be a lot more steps to get this actual wall thickness and ceiling thickness and things like that. But to get your simple form, I would start this way so that you get a feel for Rhino and a feel for how to model things, and then you can move into actually breaking this form down. So if we then said, oh, well, I want to have wall thickness on this one, I can go ahead and explode this. We can take the caps off. We can go ahead and rejoin all of these walls. So if I just drag a window over this direction, I can go ahead and join all these walls. And then I can do something like an offset surface to start to give my walls a certain thickness. So there's a lot of tutorials that go along with the processes that I just described. I'm not going to go terribly into the details of how to construct the wireframe model of this specific building, since this is not a building that anyone has. So there's a bunch of different methods that you're going to have to use: extruding, lofting, offsetting, Boolean operations, joining, exploding, and things like that, that should get you pretty close to the final form that you're looking for.